Hello guys, my name is Michael, and today we are going to talk about new things. We are going to discuss two new important functions, and before we proceed, let us see the actual code which we have. It is nothing special, it is only we were creating a window, we are creating a scale with a range, and then we add it to our window, and then we showed it with window together. I will compile it and run it, and as you can see, works fine, and the value is at the top right here and so on. I will move it a little bit down because I want to show you something. G object set, we are going to set its margin top. So that's being said, we need a scale. Okay, scale, and then we need a margin top, and I'm going to say 50, and of course we are informing the function that we are done with it. Let me compile it and run and see what happens and how this look like, and looks fine. Now we have our number right here. Okay, now let's see what we are going to discuss today. Before this, we see those functions which we already talked about them and so on. We are not going to talk now about them, but we are going to make use of one of them again because we need it, so that we understand the next things here. So today we are going to talk about GTK range set round digits, and of course about GTK range set adjustment. GTK range set round digits, this is the function which we are going to use it at this point, and says, this function says, I hate that somehow the search is working not so good, so this means, you see, I need to go inside the range, and then works the search fine, whatever. Not all the time. Okay, so this time not. Okay, sorry guys for that. I'm going to search it, set round digits right here, and says it is a function which does nothing, which means void, takes two parameters, and says sets the number of digits to round the value to when it change. So see change value. When we are going here to see change value, says that this property basically this is a signal which we are going to talk about this thing too, and says the change value signal is emitted when a scroll action is performed. I don't think it is now relevant to you, and at least after you understand the round digit story, then when you come here you put them both together and you understand it feel way better. Okay, so I'm just going to close this part, yes, and we read again, sets the number of digits to round the value to when it changes. So basically it takes two parameters. The first one is our range, and the second one is round digits, the precision in digits, or -1. So that being said, let's see what happens. I'm going to copy this function the way it is, and says the first one is GTK range, so we need to typecasting GTK range scale, and the second one will be our digits. Let's use 2. Now let's see what happens. Nope, nothing happens. Of course there is something which happens. Let me show you something, even if it's not working the way it should, because it should not eigentlich work. Let me comment this part here. I'm going to run the program again, and I want to show you something. When you are using your mouse pointer, you can drag the scale all the way left to the right, or you can use your left click, you see, to go to a particular position, and of course you can use your middle button, which goes all the way up to down. You see that? Okay, so basically this is what it's working. What it's not working, this is the right click. Watch, when I'm clicking here on the scale, nothing happens. Why is that? Well, because the right click works only if we set our digits, but we haven't set them. So basically, when we call this function now, where we set round digits to 2, and we compile it and run it, then we can work with our right click of our mouse. You see, it works fine, and as you can see, it's moving and moving, and then it's changed the value. It's moving, now it's changed the value at some point. You see this? Now this is somehow wrong. It should work, but not in that way. So that means I'm going to comment again this part here. We are going back to our functions, and we are going to call this one right here. We need to set digits. This thing doesn't happen if you create your scale with an adjustment, or if you set an adjustment to your scale. But if you don't do it, it happens that you maybe at some point you notice that it's not working. Now you know why. So basically you need to set your digits. So let us use now GTK-scale. Okay, we are passing our scale, and then we are going to say I need 3 digits. Now let me show you something very interesting. I'm going to compile it and run it, and now as you can see, we have 3 digits. 1, 2, 3, all those 3 zeros. Now when I use my right click, you can see how it's changed. You see, based of how I'm clicking and if I'm holding. You see, now let me show you something else. If I move the scale with the mouse like this, you see it gets changing, and this kind of behavior you can control it. You see, now we have 7, 1, 8 here. If I move it now, we have 6, 8, 9. So basically we are rounding all these 3 digits. So basically, better to understand it, we have much perfect or better accuracy for our perfect value. So this means now we have 2.689. How about if you are not interested in on the last one, but you want to have it? So basically you want to change only the first 2 digits. Now here is the part where this function comes. Let me show you. If I choose 3, the same like the set digit has, basically behaves the same way, so like you didn't use it. So this is useful, useless. But now watch what happens if I choose 2. I said this time, please run my digits only first 2. Now when I compile it and run it, watch, the last digit will never change. You see this? So basically this is what this function does. Same things happens if you put 1 here. You will see that only the first digit will change and not the last 2. You see? So basically this is what this function does, and of course you can use your right click also, but using your right click it is also based on your adjustment. And now if you are watching here, it's going only a little bit, it moved until 2.3 and then it's dead. If I choose 2 of them, now works fine. So remember that. Okay, now let us move to our next function, which is GTK range set adjustment. Let us check first of all what this function does, and this function should be right here, and says it is a function which takes two parameters. The first one, it is our range, the second one is an adjustment which we need to create it, and of course it returns a void, and says sets the adjustment to be used as the model object for this range widget. The adjustment indicates the current value, range value, the minimum and the maximum range values, the step page increments used for k-bindings and scrolling, and the page size. The page size is normally 0 for GtkScale. We already know the story with the page size, isn't it? Okay, if not, if you are a newcomer here, then just go back to our GTK adjustment videos and start to check them, and then go back here. Okay, so basically the page size is normally 0 for the GTK and non-zero for scroll bar. We are not there anymore already. So, and indicates the size of the visible area of the widget being scrolled. So basically we don't know, we don't need to know much more about this because you understand it already. And like it says, it takes two parameters. First is the range, and the second one is the adjustment. So basically we are going to do something like this. We are going to call this function create a scale with adjustment. I can call it like this. I can call it whatever I want to, isn't it? Okay, so GTK range, and we are going to pass our scale, and then the second one will be adjustment, which we didn't create it, but we are going to do it right now. GTK widget, oh sorry guys, wrong widget, no, it is a GTK adjustment. Okay, we have it. Now next we are going to create it. So that being said, create an adjustment, and we are going to say adjustment, and we are going to GTK adjustment new, and we are going to say the value should be now 5.0, the lower will be 0.0, the upper will be 10.0, the step will be 1.0, the page increment will be 2.0, only 2, and the last one should be 0, they said, so we are going to use 0 also. Now that we have our adjustment, we pass it this time to the GTK range set adjustment function, and we'll see now what happens. Now, as you can see, our scale is here. The value is set to 5, which happens to be in the middle because we have 0 to 10, so we can move our scale to 0 and up all the way up to 10, and of course we can set it wherever we want it, and so on. Scroll down and scroll up works fine from 0 to 10, and of course we have if I use now up arrow and down arrow, you see, left arrow, right arrow, and of course I'm going to use again our digits function so that we can take benefit of right click, and now having those 3 digits I can use also my right click also. So basically this, at this point, this is everything you need to know about GTK, let me call it GtkScale right here. Oh, not Amazon, I hate this, but somehow they need to get money too, isn't it? Anyway, GtkScale 3. So basically this is everything we need to know at this point about this function. We saw everything, or almost everything, what we need to about this one, and then we saw that this function, its object hierarchy says belongs to a GTK range. So that being said, we saw a lot of functions here. There are still many, but we are not going to talk now about this one, isn't it? We have time. We are going to use this range, you'll see, and then we'll see what's the story with other things like these ones. We are going to see about this one later when we are going to create a media player, and we'll see how you can create a media player using GTK and so on, but this is a long story. Until then will be better for you that you understand only the small things, which they are big for your future, if I can call them like that. Anyway, let me mark these things now as done, because we don't need them anymore, at least to give an explanation about them and so on, and it should be enough. Next, we are going to see about properties and of course about signals, and then like we already used, we are going to move to a new widget. So that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you like it, please subscribe, share with your friends and neighbors, and until next time, see you guys.